When we look at the remarkable progress Bangladesh has made in the spheres of poverty reduction, gender equality, and rural development, it is impossible to ignore the outsized role of homegrown organizations like BRAC and Grameen. These institutions have not only transformed millions of lives within Bangladesh, but have also inspired global conversations on how to build inclusive, grassroots-driven development. For a country as vast and diverse as India, with its own persistent challenges, ranging from entrenched poverty to gender disparity and rural underdevelopment, there is much to learn from the philosophies and models that have underpinned Bangladesh's success. Let's begin with the fundamental ethos that drives both BRAC and Grameen, a people-centered grassroots approach. In Bangladesh, development is not something that is delivered from the top down, but rather something that emerges from within communities themselves. Both organizations have placed immense trust in local people, especially women, positioning them not simply as recipients of aid, but as the architects of their own progress. This has meant engaging women as leaders, savers, borrowers, and decision-makers, transforming social dynamics at the household and community level. Contrast this with the more bureaucratic, top-down nature of many Indian schemes. While there is no shortage of well-intentioned government initiatives, the very scale and complexity of India's governance can sometimes create a disconnect between policymakers and the people they aim to serve. Programs risk becoming impersonal, slow to adapt, and lacking in local ownership. The lesson here is profound. For real change to take root, it must be grown from the ground up. Empowering community groups, especially women's collectives, as genuine partners and leaders can unlock a deeper sense of agency, accountability, and innovation. Another key insight lies in the integrated, holistic approach that organizations like BRAC have championed. Rather than tackling challenges in isolation, BRAC offers a suite of services that address the interconnected realities of poverty. A woman might receive a small loan, but she can also access healthcare, legal support, literacy training, and livelihood skills, all often under the same local umbrella. This comprehensive model recognizes that poor families don't live their lives in silos. Their needs are multifaceted and overlapping. In India, by contrast, many programs still operate within strict departmental boundaries. Health, education, microfinance, and social protection are frequently managed by separate ministries, with little coordination or synergy. As a result, opportunities are missed to amplify impact by bundling services and addressing the root causes of poverty. The Bangladeshi example suggests that by creating integrated rural development hubs, places where families can find multiple support systems in one space, India could build more resilient, empowered communities. Scaling up innovation is another area where the Bangladeshi experience holds vital lessons. Both BRAC and Grameen began as small experiments, but their models were deliberately designed to be simple, replicable, and adaptable. This allowed them to spread rapidly across villages and, eventually, to other countries. In India, many promising pilots have struggled to move beyond the demonstration stage, hampered by bureaucratic inertia, resource constraints, or political complexities. The message is clear: prioritize low-cost, scalable solutions that can be easily tailored to different local contexts. Simplicity and flexibility are key to turning good ideas into national movements. A cornerstone of both the BRAC and Grameen philosophies is the economic empowerment of women. Grameen's microcredit revolution was founded on the belief that women are not only reliable borrowers, but also transformative community leaders. Over time, this focus has helped shift social norms, increase women's participation in decision-making, and boost household incomes. In India, despite decades of development efforts, female workforce participation and financial inclusion remain stubbornly low in many rural areas. A more intentional strategy, one that puts women at the center of economic policy and program design, could be transformative, not just for women themselves, but for entire communities and the broader economy. There is also a powerful lesson in the way BRAC has structured itself as a social enterprise. Unlike many traditional NGOs that rely heavily on donor or government funding, BRAC runs an ecosystem of self-sustaining enterprises, schools, clinics, agricultural ventures, and more. Profits from one area are used to cross-subsidize and expand services in others. This hybrid model has allowed BRAC to innovate, grow, and remain resilient even when external funding ebbs and flows. For India, encouraging its own NGOs to experiment with revenue-generating activities while still keeping their social mission front and center could unleash new waves of creativity and sustainability in the social sector. Perhaps most crucially, both BRAC and Grameen are relentless in their use of data and evidence. They measure what works, what doesn't, and why, constantly adapting and improving their interventions based on real-time feedback. This culture of learning stands in contrast to the sometimes static nature of Indian public programs, which may track only headline indicators and lack the mechanisms to respond rapidly to local realities. Building a more data-responsive, adaptive approach can help Indian initiatives become more effective and resilient, able to pivot and evolve as communities' needs change. It's important to recognize that India is not without its own homegrown successes. Organizations like the Self-Employed Women's Association, or SEWA, in Gujarat have mirrored many of Grameen's philosophies, empowering women through microfinance and collective action. Bandhan Bank, which started as a microfinance institution in West Bengal, drew direct inspiration from the Grameen model and has expanded to serve millions. Yet, scaling these models to the national level remains a formidable challenge, given India's sheer size, diversity, and complex federal structure. In the end, Bangladesh's story is a potent reminder that transformative social change does not require a massive population or immense wealth. What it does require is focus, trust in people's potential, and a willingness to innovate and scale what works. For India, the lessons from BRAC and Grameen are not about copying programs wholesale, but about embracing the spirit of people-centered, integrated, and adaptable development. With its enormous talent, resources, and traditions of community organization, India has everything it needs to build on these lessons, crafting solutions that are uniquely its own, but inspired by the proven successes of its neighbor. The path forward lies in empowering people, especially women, to lead the way.